Jumping a mountain bike is an awful lot of fun, and I've actually coached loads of people on how to do it, and I've seen a lot of very common mistakes. These are those mistakes and how to avoid them. It's a funny name for it. This is an old BMX terminology. It's basically that feeling when you get in the air and you get stiff and go sideways, you don't really want to. That can end in the bike kicking out on you or the front wheel coming up in the air. This is more often than not caused by people pulling with their arms on the takeoff. So go back and look at your manual technique and make sure you're using the hips back to drive the front wheel up into the air and not pulling on the handlebars. If you're using your arms to pull the front wheel up, more often than not, your bars will go slightly sideways because your pulling isn't judged perfectly between the two arms. So make sure your arms are straight and your hips are back. Getting bucked and going nose down is an awful feeling, and that can be caused by a few things, generally on the takeoff. A soft takeoff can slow you down and start sending weight forward, so be wary of that. Or a takeoff with a really sharp transition that will be really kicky can do that. In that situation, I'd make sure I pumped really hard into the takeoff and try and drive that front wheel up as hard as you can so that front wheel stays up high, and then you can pick up the back wheel. Also, on a full suspension bike, if you actually sit too far back as you hit the takeoff, that's going to put all your weight through the rear wheel. That can bottom out that rear shock really heavily, and then it's going to fire back extra hard, and that can send your weight forward. Also check that your rebound isn't too fast on your rear shock. If all I'm doing is jumping, I'll actually put a couple more clicks on the rebound to slow it down. With gap jumps like this one, I'll have a look from the takeoff to try and judge the gap, but also I'll come and have a look from the side on to look at the distance. This jump's a bit of a step down as well, so the landing's lower than the takeoff. And from that, I'll try and judge how fast to hit it. The thing about this is you can't really learn it from someone else telling you. You just need to get out there, try loads of different types of jumps, and your judgment will improve with time. Coming up short on doubles is what most people are scared of, but actually over jumping can be just as dangerous. So try and land perfectly on that landing, get the speed right, get the pop right. Over jumping can be really dangerous, especially in sections like this where you've got another jump coming up straight away. One really common problem is people tend to go too early on jumps. As soon as the front wheel leaves the ground, people stand up to get the bike airborne, but then the rear wheel hardly touches the takeoff, gets no lift and comes up short. Video yourself, watch your feet. You want to be heel down all the way to the top of the takeoff, then stand up and forward just like the bunny hop when your rear wheel leaves the takeoff. Your toes should dip and your feet should almost match the angle of the downslope. The bike will then follow, nose in, and you'll match the angle of the landing. Something else you need to check if you're not making height is pumping. You need to pump the takeoff to get more height, especially on a full suspension bike where that rear shock is trying to soak up the takeoff. A big pump on the takeoff, we call that a preload, so the suspension is loaded in. The bigger the pump, the bigger the air. This tends to happen more on clips where it's easier just to pull with the feet to pick up the back wheel. The problem is you'll pull the back wheel up and then you run out of space because the rear wheel can't go any further because your bum's in the way. If you do this and then you realise you're coming up short on the jump, you're going to land really heavy because all your weight is over that rear wheel and it's going to case the landing. Also, if you have used a good bunny hop technique using your hips, your back wheel will already be nice and high, and then if you need to pull it up higher to clear the jump, you can then pull the bike up to you. This is called a tuck. So there you go. There's the most common jumping mistakes I've seen. Really, it's all about timing and good bunny hop technique. So if you want to see more videos like this one, you can click up there for our jumping playlist. And if you haven't seen it, click down there for our in-depth how to bunny hop, where I go into the technique and why you should be using it for jumping and for other things like getting over roots and rocks. Click there to subscribe to GMBN if you haven't done already.